I've seen your content game. It is totally stepped up.
Don't let off the gas when it comes to marketing because even though it's slow, it's not going to stay slow forever. Whenever it is time for them to make that decision, you're going to be the first person on their call list.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Roofer2Roofer show. My name is Allie. I am the head of partnerships over here at ProLine. And this week's episode, we have Starry with Steadfast Roofing here in Tampa, Florida. As per usual, we do have some questions lined up in the queue, but this is much more fun when you guys are able to ask us questions live. So if you have one, pop it into the Q&A as John is ready to go. Ready to answer any of your questions, big or small.
Oh, I hope I am.
You heard him. All right. Where do owners tend to over control and where do they tend to under control?
Oh, dang. That's a that's a good one. Um, so I really enjoy the sales side of this whole industry and things. I mean, if you look at my sweatshirt, like you can kind of see who I kind of subscribe to and things. Um, but I mean, I actually just ran into you at a Rodney Webb event just last week. So that was
Yeah, I wasn't
um,
expecting that. I saw your little Steadfast hat from across the room. I thought there's no way. And it was.
you're like, oh my gosh, where's the table with the best looking people? There they are.
You had quite a buzz around you. Everybody was wanting your autograph. It was crazy.
Right. I don't think so. um, but no, I mean, I definitely think that sales is kind of like where I kind of like keep my mitts like wrapped around them the strongest and things. And I mean, even in those circumstances where I try to have such a level of control with that, because like I have other people on my team that kind of deal with like the production side of things, the material ordering side of things, like, and I might be completely wrong, from the outside looking into it all, but at least from where I'm coming from, I think that I definitely have the most control over the sales side of things, but I think the part where I have the least amount of control is just the way that things actually kind of get communicated on the sales side of things, right? Because like I'm not going to be able to be everywhere at once, and right now I don't have any kind of like AI transcriber or anything like that that like listens to what actually takes place inside the home. I literally need to get out physically with each of them and actually just be a fly on the wall. And y- there's some months that I have a lot of time to do that. There's some months where I just don't have enough time in the world to do that. There's not that 25th hour. And I think that's where things kind of slip from time to time. Like I think we could really kind of have a much better control over some of these conversations turn in the wrong direction if we had a little bit more insight into that. So I'm hoping that ProLine kind of puts in like some sort of feature set like Zero or what's the other one that kind of does like at the kitchen table um, transcriptions and things. Uh,
Yeah,
but that would be absolutely huge because then we could go in, we could kind of like talk about like, all right, here's what you did well, here's what you kind of missed on, and here's how you should approach this next time.
yeah. Is that something that you guys deal with a lot internally at Steadfast?
No, but the times that customer escalations and things like that happen, it's really just due to people getting impatient or like internally people getting impatient or just saying the wrong thing because they didn't take the time to take a breath before they actually let their thoughts out. And um, like I said, I can't control everybody, but I think if we had some more insights into those sorts of things, we could definitely limit the amount of escalated customers that we kind of deal with from time to time.
Totally.
Yeah.
I asked you a question similar to this before, and I kinda wanna revisit it again today, which is, do you find that because I know there's many different ways that you can sell, and I think it's interesting when 2 people have a very different sales approach, but maybe they're both kinda killers in their own way. So I'm curious to know if you guys at Steadfast, are there qualities or a sales approach that you see have the most success?
Hmm. So man, that's really like a territorial sort of question almost. So there's different pockets where different sales reps would kind of thrive, where other ones would kind of falter. And I have somebody that lives like up in Newport Richey area that does really, really well. But then whenever he dips down out of that area, he doesn't do so well. Um,
Why?
just different mindset, different customer type. Just um, there's a number of different factors that can kind of, I mean, whenever you're dealing with like you're driving through Tampa and you're looking at like some of the older homes in like Seminole Heights area or something like that takes like a different type of person than like what somebody's going behind a customer that has a house that's 15 years old that needs a re-roof. I mean, there's complexities to like an older home versus like a newer home, and there's some skill sets that some people like really really thrive in, and there's other skill sets that people might be a little bit weaker in and things. And there's not like really a one size fits all sort of sales rep that can kind of cover them all. um I have a few guys that are pretty close, but I mean, some of them are a little bit too direct, and some people just need a little bit more time to kind of have things explained to them a certain sort of way that, they're just not equipped to be able to do the way that they need it done. So,
I think that makes sense. Gotta stay flexible and I think meet people where they are, for sure. So I think that makes sense. All right, guys, if you have a question, pop it into the Q&A as it is a little bit barren today, not seeing anything coming through. I'm sure you're just thinking of something to ask.
mhm.
But I'll keep it rolling. What are owners relying on today that will fail them later?
I think the biggest thing that we can count on changing in this industry is our labor force.
Mm,
And end of the day, like if I'm not able to keep my crews busy enough to the point that they're not going to go looking elsewhere, or if like I started fighting back on like certain change orders and things, or like extra work that I don't feel that we should really be getting charged for, like they're going to go somewhere else. And end of the day, like our labor force is, they are the people that actually like, they are the glue of this company. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have a business. Um, Now, granted, like my sales reps, they feed into that and actually getting them things for us to actually schedule for them. But if we just all we did all day was sell roofs and we didn't have anybody actually install them, like there's your bottleneck. But I would say like the labor side of things is definitely one of the biggest things that will change throughout a roofing company's history. Like there was a point where we were running with 9 crews. We're down to 3 at this point just because we don't have the abundance of work to kind of keep 9 crews busy. Um, so
yeah, that's definitely a huge pain point, and I feel like I'm getting that feedback from people all over the country, not just here in Florida. So it's definitely sad and something that we wanna keep an eye on. Outside of maybe the production side of things, I would also be curious to know what are some other maybe pain points that you guys are experiencing at Steadfast that some of our audience could relate with?
So one of the big things that we're dealing with is like I had changed our phone system over to a company that's going to give us better trackability and things. So name of the company is CallRail. And I'll tell you what, ever since switching to that, it has been an absolute nightmare. Um, Calls aren't getting routed to the appropriate people at the appropriate times. Calls are getting dropped, calls are getting abandoned. Sometimes they're actually skipping over the person it should actually be getting routed to. And like just today, we looked and we had missed 12 calls. It's just like, what the heck is going on? Like, our phones didn't ring, you know? Um, so it, if anybody is really considering making like a shift in their business and things, maybe just try it out first before you do a full cut. But I'm not sure if I even answered your question here at
No,
the
you did. You did, absolutely. We were just kinda chatting about what other pain points you guys are experiencing internally that are things
that's
since
that's our most recent one. Uh,
yeah.
so 2 months of call rail, I'm ready to like just
Give it
switch
up.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, bit the thing that attracted me to it though, is it does give you visibility as far as which of your marketing channels actually work.
Yeah.
Problem is like if you're not able to actually receive those calls, what good is knowing that if we don't answer and then they go call one of our competitors and stuff afterwards. So
No. No kidding. Okay, so crews and having production, that's a pain point. Choosing the wrong software and making a switch over to that, that's a pain point. Anything else that you guys have going on right now that, or maybe something that you experienced that you were able to overcome, that helped you scale or grow? Anything that you think would be beneficial for our audience here?
and one thing that we've been making some pretty big changes here as of late as far as like in retail sales. We've kind of garnered a culture of lead babies almost, where despite us having expectations of everybody being present at their builds and talking to the 12 closest neighbors and things like that. I mean, we have added some accountability in that they have to take photos of the door tags that they're leaving behind. And if they're not leaving a total of 12 door tags, there needs to be a note present in the CRM to actually state like, hey, there's not a door tag for this one, and this one because I actually had a conversation at the door. They have a card, blah, blah, blah. Um, and we have had a good adoption rate to that. People have actually been doing that. But to take that a step further, we brought in a canvasser, which, I had always been super duper like against. I don't feel that people really want to be bothered like at the door too much, but if they can see it and they can hear it, like it's all within earshot of where they are, like they could at least understand like why we're stopping by, right? But man, this canvasser that we just brought on board, he's been absolutely fantastic. And we've been using some new tools like bid mailers and things to kind of get letters sent out. So we're having those additional touch points. So whether it be at the door or something hanging on their door, whether it be a letter or a door hanger, they're also going to get something in the mail. And then if they live close enough to the vicinity of the actual work that's being done, they're getting postcards through Dope 360 and things. So we're just trying to make as many touch points with people that we can and really just trying to multiply like every job turning into another one, two, three additional jobs out of those. So
Oops. You kinda went into marketing a little bit, which is perfect because that's exactly where I'm heading. I've seen your content game. It is totally stepped up. I love the things that you guys are producing on Instagram, on Facebook. I've even seen you guys pop up, against my will as I'm scrolling. So whatever you guys are doing on the marketing side, it's definitely working, and I'd like to know maybe with that, what you're seeing has gained the most visibility, kind of any insight as to where people should spend their marketing dollars?
So if you'd asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have a completely different answer. But I had been completely against any kind of meta advertising just because I never got any kind of traction out of it. Um, and the little bit of traction we did get, like we had such a low conversion rate with it that I just kind of swore it off for a while. But that can all really change if you find a really, really good marketing company that not only like knows what the heck they're doing, but like really does their best and puts their best foot forward to actually partner with you to actually adjust your budgets to actually meet the goals that you're trying to actually achieve. And I'll tell you what, my meta guy has been absolutely fantastic. Um, and behind organic leads and things, meta has been absolutely game changing for us. We get a lot of leads through that particular source. And the conversion rates for it, I mean, they are lower than what an organic lead would be or like an inbound phone call and things, obviously. But with all the changes that have taken place on Google here lately, like with PPC and with LSAs and things, like it has literally been a source that we can count on as far as getting our sales reps out in front of actual homeowners, and they've really really done well for us. So
Yeah, I can tell. What
it might not be the marketing source; it might actually be the company behind actually putting that content out there. So
Totally. No, I would say so. And what style of content are you seeing have the best conversion? Is it the funny stuff that you guys are doing? Is it the educational stuff? Or what's tracking for you?
I mean, our call to actions really vary from like we run multiple campaigns at a time. But I mean, yeah, we definitely use some of our funny videos. We definitely use some of our more educational videos. Still images convert just as well as our video content does, though.
Interesting.
But the way that we actually intake them, like that makes a pretty big difference. Like, I'm not bashing Rufo when I say this, but like I love those guys, but our conversion rates that we use for leads on Meta, like our conversion rates with instant quote form fills are significantly lower than what they are if, we just took them to a form fill or an intake form to kind of get their info and kind of let our speed to lead kind of take over from there. Um, but the form fills definitely seem to have the highest conversion rates over like any of the other methods that we've tried.
Sweet. That makes sense to me. Guys, feel free to pop in your questions here, the Q&A.
There has not been a single dang question, girl.
Quiet today. You guys have to have something to ask. What's on your mind? What's going on internally with
Probably because they heard that I was going to be the only one here. And they're like, I really came here for Scott and Carney.
Yeah, exactly. Or Avery even from last week. They had Avery last week. They want the professionals on the call. They're done with us, John. They're done with us.
Avery was getting hammered with questions.
Ooh, really? Anything good that I could ask you again?
Nothing that I want to revisit.
Rats. Okay. Well, so we continue. What is the best way to name a roofing business? Or maybe if it's easier for you instead of answering that question directly, maybe just kind of go into how Steadfast came to be.
Sure. Um, so I knew from the very get, like I did not want to have anything that had my name associated with it in any kind of way because, end of the day, like you look at all these companies that have kind of like named their I'm just going to use a made up name, but like Miller's Roofing, right? Ham or Scott would be a great example because originally his company name was T-Bay Roofing. He went through a big expensive rebrand project, and John Delorier, like same sort of thing. And nobody really buys you for, the name that's really behind it and things. Like, you wanna have, like, a name that's somewhat memorable. Um, and I want something to c I named my company based off of a couple of different things, but, like, the word itself just means, like, unfailing, unwavering thing, and, like, why wouldn't you want something that's unfailing and unwavering protecting your home? Um, but number 2, I mean, like, the word steadfast is just mentioned so many times in the Bible, and, I literally decided on the name for my company, like, at a men's discipleship group, um, and I was back and forth between, like, Steadfast and another name that I'm not gonna bring up just in case somebody else wants to use it. I think I'm gonna name my construction company something like that, but anyway, but it just had a meaning to me, and the word itself has, like, such a strong meaning that I thought that I could really kinda run with it, and, I mean, we have built up quite a bit of a local following here, and I mean, people know who we are, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Like, I would not have named it anything other than what I did. And and if anybody else is out there is kind of thinking about naming their company this, like, I did get this thing trademarked, so y'all need to step up. But
We
hey,
met we met another Steadfast at IRE, didn't we?
we did, but they were Steadfast Construction. So,
Well,
well, we'll let them go.
yeah.
I won't send them a cease and desist.
He seemed cool, like,
Yeah, man, I
there's
know.
room for him, I'm sure.
End of the day, like, I really don't care as long as they're not, like, in my backyard, like, but
We're safe there. Why yellow?
this is gold, girl.
Excuse me. Why gold?
It's fancy.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
like just like you, Allie.
Thank you for
But,
saying.
but I did kinda work in my last name into the logo a little bit. I did put a little star in roofing,
No, I love it.
and made it green, which is, like, one of my favorite colors, so
I
it all
love it.
worked out.
I need some merch. I'm still lacking in that department. I have no
Absolutely.
Steadfast merch, so I don't know who you need to call about that, but
We are gonna have to change that for sure.
I agree. I agree for sure. So I've already asked you about marketing strategies. Any other advice you'd give to a new roofer who's just starting out? It can be about the business or about really anything.
Let's see. Is there anything that I haven't already said about starting a business?
You've pretty much given us all your pearls of wisdom by now,
I
right?
know. I mean, like, I'm pretty much tapped out at this point, you know?
I
So
will say I get, like, mixed reviews about how roofing contractors are doing in Florida. I think, half of the people that I talk to, they're saying it's, like, super scarce right now, and it's hard to at least kinda maintain that phase that you're in. I don't know if that's something that you're experiencing.
it definitely is. I think like half the people that are telling you otherwise are probably fibbing to you. But
Yeah.
it is definitely a down industry right now. Um, we are definitely not seeing the amount of work that we had been the first part of last year, but we also didn't have any kind of major storms down here. We had probably the driest summer I can remember. Um, so I mean, people are definitely hurting for, you know, generating and developing new opportunities and things right now. And the big thing I would say in regard to that is like we have thousands of customers in our pipeline right now that, either haven't made a decision or already went with somebody else. Like, what are we doing with the data that we already have? Um, So like that's one of the big things that we're trying to tackle right now is like making the most out of every contact, every opportunity, and just trying to convert that into another um chance to get in front of somebody. And you know, we have revamped so many different things in this time where it's slow, but I think I said it last week with Avery and things, but the time that I was in Mexico, I literally revamped all of my automations that go out from like the moment that their info comes through to us to the moment we send a quote out to them. And like everything is designed around prompting them to take action or take that next step. And, you know, a lot of them are in a very Alex Hormozy sort of style that actually prompts them to actually take an action and just respond back with a simple like number response or like a one word response that kind of lets us know where they are. But it allows us to kind of keep that conversation going, allows it to continue. And you know, end of the day, like whatever it is that they're kind of needing at that point, like if we're getting a response out of them, the chances of us actually being able to take that to the next level are going to be increased. So, if anything, I mean, I would just tell people like through this slow time, I mean, utilize the data that you have in front of you. Utilize like all the tools that are at your disposal. Make sure you are maximizing the use of them. And don't let off the gas when it comes to marketing because even though it's slow, it's not going to stay slow forever. And the more impact you can make, the more people that are kind of aware of who you are, whenever it is time for them to make that decision, you're going to be the first person on their call list.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. Let's see. How do you improve a customer satisfaction and gather more positive reviews? I think we touched on this one a little bit. But is there anything that's, you've noticed really sticks out where customers come back to you and say, we really like that you did this, or language in a certain place that you felt converted specifically?
I mean, some of the big things that we do is, before we ever hold our hand out and try to collect money for a project that we've completed, like we're doing a final walkthrough with people and like we're having them point out things that like maybe, they're not super duper happy with. But if you can kind of offset any kind of negative response before they even have a chance to write anything like that, you're gonna have great reviews. And end of the day, like 98% of people are gonna be super duper happy with the project that you turn into them. Just in the fact that like the roof's not leaking, the roof looks brand new and it looks great. The job site's cleaned up. And end of the day, like they weren't guessing like when all this stuff was gonna take place. So the more you can kind of build up on communication, the quicker you can actually schedule your final walkthrough after job completion, the less headaches you're going to have to deal with. Because, like, the more people have time to look at something that you just wrapped up before they pay you, the more they're going to kind of pick it apart. So, if you can schedule that walkthrough with them within 1 to 2 days after the project is completed, the moment that they pay for it, they stop worrying about it. Like,
Yeah.
because, end of the day, they know they have a new roof. They know it's not leaking. They know that, if there ever is an issue, like they're going to be covered. And, you know, don't let them stew on that stuff. Don't let them like overanalyze anything. Schedule that walkthrough. Make sure that if there's any kind of punch out items that need to get done, make sure you get them taken care of and then collect your money. Uh, But I mean, another thing that we do to kind of like keep our customer experience like where it is, like beyond like from when they sign to like when they get scheduled and all that stuff. We do have a 30-day post install check-in. And that's really important in, capturing additional reviews, like maybe people that haven't done them yet. We can just make sure like, hey, everything's still good. Did you notice anything? And again, like if you listen to what I said, like if you collect money shortly after that job wraps up, they're not going to pick it apart. But the longer that they haven't paid for it, the more they're going to find, the more that, you know, the more you're kind of opening yourself up for, any, even though there might not really be anything wrong, they might just have more and more questions about this and that. And just don't delay getting paid. But the 30-day check in, that's important because it gives you another opportunity to ask for a review, gives you another opportunity to ask for a referral. And end of the day, like we don't want them thinking that like, hey, you got your roof done with us, you're never going to hear from us again. Like we don't want them thinking that at all. We want to remind them about the referral program that we have. We want to remind them, hey, everybody you refer to us, like we want to help them too. And whether you give them referral credits or referral money or anything like that, or if you just send them a gift or whatever, doesn't matter. Like there's no right or wrong way to take care of referrals. Whatever works for you, run with it. But just
Yeah.
make sure that you're doing something. Because everybody knows somebody and everybody has a roof over their head, you know?
No kidding. Yeah, I felt like, we kinda touched on that a little bit at the Rodney Webb training. So I was curious, since we're not having a ton of questions in today, I'm okay with just ending it on a little Rodney Webb discussion. That being, what was, your favorite takeaway from the training? Either your favorite moments or your favorite pearl of wisdom that you took away from that training, with Rodney last week.
Man, there's so much that you can take away from everything that he does. But and this is like the third time that I actually saw him in person, but like every time you always walk away with something.
Totally.
But I love the video inspection and how that kind of opens up the limbic part of their brains. I love how quick and easy it is for people to actually add in like all those extra details and things that most people, and it makes so much more sense to have people see that on a screen versus and like watch something versus like swiping through your dirty cell phone that that he said is like dirtier than your underwear. um and I don't know about
Right, not
now.
underwear specifically, but allegedly,
Right.
yeah, all these dirty
But,
people that you're referring to.
in addition though, I mean, like just the way that he kind of brings financing into each and every conversation is just, I mean, he's masterclass for sure. So
No kidding. I
what
think
did you take away, Allie?
a good bit, right? Like, I thought his perspective on, like, challenging homeowners was interesting, and it's something that, like, I personally struggle with. I feel like I never know the right moment to challenge, because I don't ever wanna come across as, like, combative or, like I'm not agreeable, so that kinda left me with some food for thought where I had to, like, reevaluate conversations I've had and look for opportunities to challenge a little bit more than maybe I have historically. I also loved when he kicked that person out. That was hilarious. The drama. That was my second favorite part. But if we don't have any questions coming through here, I'm okay with giving you some of your time back and waiting for next week's episode with our full team of panelists ready to go and answer all your questions, big or small.
So
We're
I
gonna
think
be having
Scott and his wife are having a baby. That's amazing.
Wait, which Scott?
Scott's eBay.
No way.
I think so.
Did you just release his news?
Well, I don't think they're actually having it, but I think that they're at the hospital because of that.
I'm confused, but I will stay confused, I guess.
Eh, anyway, um, yeah, we'll let him explain.
I love that. Well, I'm
I
excited for next week,
I
y'all.
don't want to get into any of those like complicated like health discussions and stuff.
Yeah, this is the Roofer to Roofer show, okay?
Yeah,
That's what we do here. So
absolutely.
no, I love that. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining today, John. Thank you to our participants, as always, for popping in today. We'll see you next Monday at 4:30 to do it all again. Bye, guys.
See ya.